Dear pretty people, I have some bad news and I have some good news for you guys today. Let's just jump into the bad news first, get it out of the way while my dishwasher is taking a nap, because I don't know when this thing might come back to life, okay? The bad news is that if you missed the release of the Aaliyah Barbie doll that was on January 15th, 16th, I'm saying it's the 15th because depending on what coast you were on, the sale started at 9 p.m. for some of us, and for some of us it started at midnight, which was officially the 16th. That was the time frame, but the doll was sold out within 20 minutes, bruh. So that's the bad news. If you miss it on Mattel Creations, it's sold out, so you can't buy it there anymore, and you can't buy it on any other websites in the US market. I can only speak on America because I'm an American, I live in America, and that's the market that I'm following. But at the time of recording this, she's not available on any US market for people to buy except eBay, where the scalpers have raised the price of this doll at least 3 times more than what her original retail price is, which is $55. But the good news is that's not the end. So if you are following the sales over on eBay, I highly discourage you from giving in to temptation and wasting money purchasing this doll on eBay. If you are a man who is trying to find this doll as a gift for your spouse, please don't do it. Hold on, because I'm going to tell you the news that I've been hearing that may help you to find this doll at a more reasonable price. But kudos to you guys who are just breaking your pockets to gift these dolls to people and just spending exorbitant amounts of money for this doll. Relax, okay? You don't have to do it. She's not going to die because she has to wait a couple more weeks, okay? Listen, this is what I've been hearing. First, let me just acknowledge that I did already check out a review of the doll over on my homie Aryan's page. Go to Barbie Nation if you want to see a first look of this doll. You know, Aryan normally like pastelizes his dolls. That's just his aesthetic with his collection. But in this review, he didn't do that. He did not alter the doll. He left her as is. He just showed you all of the basic things that you would be wanting to see in a review for the doll. So I highly recommend going and checking that out if you just want a pure look at the doll. There are other people who have reviewed this doll, but I'm specifically recommending his review because I watch content creators who do their videos sort of the way that I do it, in the sense of they're catering to adults and not a bunch of little kids. They're showing you things that any collector would be wanting to know about a doll when you take it out of the box. There's so many questions that go through my mind when I'm thinking about buying a doll, and I like to watch many people's content in order to compile my own judgment of whether I want to add the doll or not. And Aryan and creators like him, the people who I'm recommending, are the kinds of people who do that for me. Go check his out first, and then go check out everybody else's, okay? At Barbie Styles Instagram page, which is Mattel's official Instagram for Barbie related things. A lot of us are following that account if we're on Instagram, but for those of you who don't have access to Instagram, let me just clarify. I've been stalking their page, looking through all of the comments, and of course there's a bajillion people over there saying, where's my doll? Y'all sold out lickety split. What's going on? How do we get our hands on these dolls? Why y'all doing this to us, Mattel? I saw not one, not two, multiple responses saying to basically wait until the end of the month and check again. In a few of those responses, they even specifically name dropped Target and said to check Target at the end of the month. Clearly they know that it's sold out on their website, and clearly they know that it's sold out on Target. So if they're saying to check back at the end of the month, which on Target's website it says specifically the 26th is their official release date for this doll, I'm gonna assume that's because they know there's gonna be a restock of the doll. There were people that were speculating that the January 16th release was specifically done to commemorate Aaliyah's birthday, and that it was supposed to be a surprise, and that's why they didn't mention it or promote it in any way. So if you caught it, you caught it. If you didn't, you didn't. But it was supposed to be an early release. So anybody who was able to snag her during that date was basically just getting early access to the doll, and that the official release was supposed to be later on in the month, I guess the 26th. The rest of the retailers that normally carry Barbie dolls that are new should be getting those in stock. Now, we still have not heard any confirmation from Mattel that Amazon USA are going to have her, but I really hope that they do, because Amazon is so low hassles for a lot of us to order from. Their shipping times are so much faster. The return process with Amazon is so much easier than a lot of the other retailers that we deal with. And of course, I highly doubt she's gonna show up on any store's shelves in person. So even though Target.com is gonna be carrying her, I don't think that a Target store would have her in stock. I don't. I would not be holding my breath to see her in a Target store in person. So these are rumors that I'm hearing within the Dollyverse that I felt the need to pass on to some of you guys who are not as obsessively tracking this information like I am. I do plan on getting a second one if I can get a hold of her somehow, but I'm very satisfied with being able to have gotten one. I'm not an in-the-box collector, you guys. For reals, there's probably like 2 or 3 dolls in my entire collection that on purpose I'm keeping in a box and choosing not to remove. I feel like I'm giving it an extra one by saying 2 or 3. Like, I don't know. I don't even know if it's that many. So I'm very adverse to keeping dolls in boxes. This one, like, I know I'm gonna take my initial Aaliyah out of the box because I want to review her, I want to touch her, I want to manipulate the doll, and I may even end up changing her from the Aaliyah persona to a different character. I don't know. That's my plan. So because I know I'm going to take her out of the box, I feel like just because of what Aaliyah stands for and who Aaliyah is as a person, having this doll in my collection is very meaningful, and I feel like I'm going to end up wanting a second one that I am going to keep in box just to keep her preserved for years to come and maybe pass down to one of my kids. I'm hoping that I can get a second one, but we'll see. If I don't, I'm not gonna like fuss about it because there's so many people who weren't able to get one that I want everybody who wanted this doll to get them, who are collectors. Now, hanging out on the forums over on Mattel Creations website for members only, I was shocked and actually really disappointed to see some comments from people when they were like, you know, it was a lot of buzz going on amongst the members trying to figure out like, when is the release gonna happen? Are they gonna send us a link? Like, we were just discussing amongst ourselves, what's going on? How do we get these dolls, you know? In that conversation, there were way too many people hopping in there with a whole attitude problem because they didn't like that Aaliyah was turned into a doll, mainly because they didn't know who she was. They didn't understand the significance of her, and they didn't know why all the buzz, right? So they were getting irritated that people were buzzing about this doll. They were getting upset that their favorite celebrities had not yet been turned into a Barbie doll. So they were like just in the comments straight up being rude, saying things like, instead of this nobody, why don't you guys make this doll instead? Like, it was a lot of that going on. Very, very shocked to see the toxic behavior of some of these people, you know, and we have a lot of entitled people here that just come online and say all kinds of sideways weird things to each other, and they just think it's okay. It's very strange, but I hope that the people who are part of my little sub-community of doll collectors are not on it like that, because that's just so ugly. Like, why are y'all doing that? So weird. That made me think there are a lot of people who probably even ordered this doll just for the beauty of the doll that have no idea who Aaliyah is and why there's so much fanfare over getting their hands on this doll. It's not just an ordinary Barbie. Like, there's so much history behind Aaliyah herself. So I just want to shout out real quick Hayden Williams, who left a comment over here when I was initially talking about my concerns for how I was going to be able to get this doll. Just to reassure everyone, he had left a nice comment. And if you don't know who Hayden Williams is, he's a fashion illustrator. Hayden was talking about how he had helped to design the doll's style to reflect Aaliyah and why certain decisions were made in the designing process. And I just wanted to talk about some of that stuff. But in order for that to make sense, I gotta give you a little bit of background on Aaliyah herself. So Aaliyah's real name is Aaliyah Dana Houghton, and the name Aaliyah is an Arabic name, which is basically a variation of the name Ali, and it just means like the greatest one or the highest one, right? Aaliyah is known for being very, very proud of her name. She really loved her name, and as you can see, it's a very unique spelling of the name. There's a lot of Aaliyahs in the world, but very few that spell their name the way that she does, with the double A. So it's a quick way to recognize when people are talking about Aaliyah. She doesn't have like a last name that she goes by publicly. You see the double A, you know they're talking about the Aaliyah, okay? And most of us know, especially since the drop of this doll, that her birthday is January 16th of 1979. So I think she would have turned 46 this year. She first officially entered the music scene at the age of 12, and her first album released was Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. on which she worked with R. Kelly, who was her mentor at the time. Now, a little bit of controversy here because R. Kelly is a grown-ass man, and there were so many rumors and speculations about her and him being in a romantic relationship, and there were allegations that her and R. Kelly forged documents to say that she was 18 years old so that they could get married when she was only 15. Yeah, that was a thing. So it was a lot of like, what? But as we see with R. Kelly and where his personal life went since then, it's really not that far-fetched to believe that this was actually happening. But it was a lot of like scandal about it. If you asked Aaliyah officially on the record, she always denied that they had gotten married because, I mean, technically speaking, legally, they didn't. She wasn't of age, so she couldn't consent to a marriage, hello. But I think she was trying to probably protect her image, so that was mostly the reason why she was denying it. But like a lot of the insiders who knew them from back in the day have come out since then and said, no, it really happened. Like, they were dating. So if you want to call that dating, I mean, whatever. But I mean, come on, things were a little bit different back then than they are now. But let's be honest, you're not a grown man dating a little kid. Come on. What are you talking about? Clearly somebody was taking advantage of somebody in this situation, okay? But after this album, she stopped working with R. Kelly, and then she went on to work on her second album, which was produced by Timbaland and Missy Elliott. And then they went on to help her create One in a Million, which was a very popular album. And it was her debut album as the grown and sexy version of Aaliyah as far as her style, because prior to this, she was presenting herself very like street casual style. Kind of like, remember how Brandy was branded? Remember how Brandy was marketing her image when she first came on the scene as a teenager? Baby, 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 baby. That version of Brandy. You know, it was like a very cool, chillax kind of a look. That's kind of how Aaliyah was styled prior to One in a Million. Then when the One in a Million music video came out, she was rocking this tiny little outfit that she was wearing that the doll has on, with the black straps and the leather, and you know, and then we saw her like riding motorcycles and just doing all kinds of stuff that it was very like out of the norm for young black women at that time to showcase themselves this way. So she had kind of rebranded her image a little bit. But the thing about Aaliyah was that she wasn't over the top with it. She wasn't just like flaunting her sexuality and her prettiness all up in your face. Her signature look was that she was always like covering her eyes. She had one eye she would cover with her hair, and a lot of times she would be wearing dark sunglasses, and you couldn't really even see her whole face. So it was almost like she was hiding her beauty from you. I remember being shocked when we like first got a glimpse of her face without the hair covering it, and me and my teenage friends and like my sister being like, oh my gosh, Aaliyah's so pretty. Like, why does she always cover her face up like that? So the rumor on the streets was she thought she had a lazy eye, so she would cover one eye up so that you couldn't really see it. But I don't know if that's true, because I've been looking for this lazy eye the entire time I've known of Aaliyah's existence. I've never noticed it. Am I missing something, you guys? I don't know. But anyway, that's just a rumor I heard. I don't know. People always try to explain things away, but that was definitely a signature thing. So you seeing how this doll is styled very purposefully, with the hair covering one eye, with the sunglasses, with the leathery, sexy outfit. I heard somebody say something like that. She looked like a streetwalker, and I'm like, huh? Like, clearly you don't follow the storyline here, okay? But yeah, so it was like a risque, edgy look that she was going for when she got to this part in her career. And she also went on to do movies like Romeo Must Die, Queen of the Damned. Now, I did see a lot of fans complaining, once again, that they didn't put her into the outfit that she had on for the Queen of the Damned movie, which was like a very iconic, extravagant outfit. But again, the designers of the doll wanted to reflect that the One in a Million look was a part of Aaliyah's general look. Like, that was like her new stilo moving forward. It was a decision that she and her team made to create a certain image for her. So it was like basically a part of her persona. Whereas the Queen of the Damned, that's not an Aaliyah look. That was just a character that she was portraying for a movie. So it wouldn't have made sense to portray the first ever Aaliyah Barbie doll with a look that was just kind of like fly by night for a movie that she had really no Satan, you know? That wasn't like a customary look that Aaliyah was just portraying everywhere she went. So it makes sense that they used the 1 in a Million music video look for this doll, and I don't have a problem with it. I feel like you're getting an Aaliyah doll. Honestly, if they had put her in a t-shirt and some jeans, I would have been like, fine by me, and just snagged her, you know what I mean? I'm fine with that. But people were just being so nitpicky about the outfit that she was wearing, and I'm like, y'all just don't get it. Do your research. That's what I was saying. I just wanted to explain that for people who are wondering, like, why did they dress her like this? Well, this is why. She just was so versatile. She was so pretty that she could express her beauty while all covered up, wearing sunglasses, a beanie hat, big baggy clothes. Like, she didn't need to flaunt everything in order for you to see that she was gorgeous. But then she could get all glammed up and dolled up and girlied up and totally blend in with all the girly girls. No problem. She didn't look out of place. You ever seen girls where, like, you dress them all up and they just look so out of place? Just so out of place. Like, they just look so uncomfortable wearing a skirt. That was not Aaliyah. She chose to wear the styles that she wore, but she could get away with being very ultra feminine and glammed, and like it wouldn't even look like, what is she doing in this costume? She was like a chameleon with her style, you know? Just very, very like underrated beauty. She just had that kind of beauty that was like, you can't believe that she's your next door neighbor. You're just like, does she know how pretty she is? That kind of beauty, you know? So the real tragedy here was the way she died. In August of 2001, she had flown in a private plane to a little island where she was doing her Rock the Boat music video. And then when they finished filming, got on the plane to come back, the plane crashed. She was only 23 at the time, and upon impact, I think her and 8 other passengers died. So heartbreaking. Like, if you didn't live through this time, I can't even describe to you the level of impact this had on the media, pop culture, hip hop. The Black community and hip hop community, I think, was impacted the worst from hearing this news. They found out later that her pilot had some substances in his system and he should not have been flying that plane. The family ended up filing a lawsuit for wrongful death after all of this happened. So it's just tragic, very sensitive topic for a lot of people to discuss because of the way that she died. She was only 23. Like, her life had really just started, even though she had gotten so much accomplished already by this time in her career. Whew, what a waste, what a waste. So I know some, like, even hearing me talking about this, for some of us hearing this that remembers being there, like hearing about the news, having followed her music, being very influenced by her music. I was like a teenager around this time, but there were people probably older than me that was listening to her music too. And she was such an icon within pop culture, like Beyonce. Bye. If Aaliyah had survived, if Aaliyah had continued, Beyonce wouldn't even have a career. You understand what I'm saying? We just don't know what would have been if she had made it through that scenario. But just like I said, the impact of her music, her style, and her personality on her public was monumental. And losing Aaliyah like that so tragically, nobody saw it coming, she was so young, was heartbreaking for everybody who was familiar with her as a celebrity to process. I don't think I ran into anyone who didn't like Aaliyah's music. Like, anybody who knew who Aaliyah was loved her. They loved her music. They just loved her, right? And she was starting to go on this path of getting into acting and modeling. Oh, what a waste. So this is all part of the things that are adding to the hype of this doll. People who are looking for this doll, some of them are not doll collectors. A lot of them are not doll collectors. And like I stated earlier, there's a lot of husbands and boyfriends who are out here trying to just get the doll at whatever the cost. They don't even care how much it costs, just so they can please their wives and girlfriends, because it's like nostalgic. It's like a part of our childhood for a lot of us to remember Aaliyah and to have a figurine that you can just look at every single day next to your old school albums and, you know, CDs of her music, your cassette tapes, if some of y'all still have those, of her music. What? That's like a walk down memory lane of the good times back in the hood, blasting Aaliyah songs. Like, for me, a personal memory I have is with myself and my sister and my cousin. We're all like around the same age. And there was a point in my teen years where I actually lived with this cousin. My sister and my cousin are really good dancers, and they were just obsessed with like trying to come up with different dances so we could shoot our own music videos. I sucked, but they were really good. And I remember us doing a little dance routine to the song Are You That Somebody? And we were just going in. Like, I still remember parts of the dance. I remember us like practicing every single day. In between songs, we'd just be listening to the rest of the album, you know? My cousin, she had like everybody's albums. All the popular people of that era when it came to like hip hop and R&B music. She had all the good music. Rocking out all the time is a huge part of my childhood that I remember fondly, and Aaliyah's music was absolutely part of the background music of that time for me. So I know it's not just me. So fun fact, Aaliyah actually didn't write any of her own songs. She only wrote one song herself, but everything else was written by other people. And she didn't really view herself as a songwriter. She was more into the actual performance part of it. So she just enjoyed bringing those words to life with her skills. And she honestly was the epitome of somebody who made their mark in their industry based on their talent and not based on their looks. Once she passed, a lot of her friends who were already in the music industry kind of collaborated to do a special tribute music video for her. They used her song Miss You as the song that they were going to do the video to. So if you can actually find that video here on YouTube. How did it go? I can't play it because I don't want to deal with the copyright problems. But it went like, it's been too long and I'm lost without you. What am I gonna do? Said I've been needing you and wanting you, wondering if you're the same. Something like that. That's how the song goes. So if you remember that song, that was the one that they did like the tribute video to. But if you watch that video, yo, like everybody is in that video. Like every black entertainer that was alive at that time is just in the video. You're like, did you know Aaliyah? Everybody was listening to her music, I guess. So, but I'm just sitting here like, Toni Braxton? Huh? Who's the other one I saw in there? Jamie Foxx? Like the most random people are in that video. It's insane. But that's how impactful she was. So the other bad news I have for you guys that I saved to the end is that I myself have not gotten any notifications that my doll has shipped. Ew, Mattel. They take for freaking ever. I've seen other people saying that they got their dolls already. And of course, like I said, like with Aryan from Barbie Nation, some people have already received her and they're doing reviews. And if you go on Instagram, you'll see a whole crap ton of people have received theirs. Mostly the ones from Europe who ordered from the European sites because Amazon over there was able to get the doll. You know, I swear, I think Mattel on purpose didn't want to distribute to American Amazon because they already knew. We're not about to deal with you, Mattel, if Amazon got something available over there that you got. They're just so much easier to deal with, and we don't want to be bothered. They know this. So that's why I think that they basically held it back from being released by Amazon, which is so dumb. But maybe in the future release, later on in the month, maybe they'll cave and just let Amazon US have it too, because you're already sold out on Mattel's website, so there's no more competition. Just let Amazon carry it, please. You know, whoever's making decisions over at Mattel, I know y'all be watching our videos. Please listen to us. We're trying to make y'all money. Like, what do you think this is? We're trying to give you our money and you're making it so difficult. Please stop. But when mine comes, these are some of the things that you guys can look forward to seeing in my most detailed review, as I be doing. The usual basic things that everybody goes over when they are looking at these dolls, of course. But I'll also be focusing on the hairstyle and the condition that the hair is in. We're gonna dig all up in her scalp to see how sparsely or full the hair rooting is. We're gonna try some different hairstyles on her as well to see how versatile the texture of the hair is. We're gonna talk about MTM skin tone matches. I wanna see if there's any possible matches out there. I'm hearing rumors that nobody can seem to find an MTM match, but I don't know if that's because the people who are looking at the dolls currently just don't have any MTM bodies that match her in their stash, or because one really doesn't exist. So we're gonna try and figure that out. I'm hoping that by the time I get my doll, I can actually find a possible MTM match for her somewhere, and then we'll already be, able to swap out the bodies on camera. That would be great, but we'll see. We're of course gonna take a look at her body, remove the clothes. I wanna compare her body to some of my other dolls that have similar bodies to just see what the differences are and how good or bad the articulation might be. I'm hearing mixed rumors about the quality of the articulation with the doll. I want to try her clothes on some of my other dolls, but I also want to try on other clothes on her to see if we can restyle her in other ways. And I do plan on doing a close-up sculpt study of her, comparing her to some other dolls that I suspect have very similar sculpts to this one. And maybe if you can get your hands on some of these other sculpts, you might be able to customize your own Aaliyah doll based on some inspiration from what's available within the doll community to do that with. So there's just a bunch of stuff. I can't even get into it all here because this video is already getting way too long, but hopefully you pretty people will help me to navigate that when we're taking a look at the doll. Now, if you're listening to me saying this and you have some questions of your own about this doll, you're wondering about different things, different features, and you're curious, then don't be afraid to leave that in the comment section. If I can't answer your question directly, I will be sure to include my answers in a video coming forth. And if anyone's reading those comments and you have the answers, please feel free to answer each other in the comment section. We're building up a community here of people who are being supportive of each other. It's a safe space for us to talk about dolls. This is not a channel that's catered to children. My channel is catered towards adults. I don't mind if kids come over here and watch this stuff, but I'm not censoring my content for kids. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Gypsy. This is Broken Dolly TV, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Until then, have a dolly day.